Hey everybody, Jeremy here. Well, and as you can tell, I am not currently in my office, but through the miracle of modern telecommunications, I am coming to you through my phone. But as they say, the show must go on. I had a client meeting run over from just a few minutes ago, and so a little late getting back to the office, but I wanted to go ahead and start this series of live streams off the right way. And so here I am. Today's topic, how I left my 9 to 5. Actually, I thought this would be a great topic to get things rolling, give a little bit of background as to how I got into this field, into accounting, but just very briefly, wanted to share my three, and there's going to be a bonus one too, but my three tips on how I made that transfer from being an employee, working what was actually more than a 9 to 5 job, into being self-employed and having my own accounting firm, JWell CFO. So first of all, if you're watching, thank you very much. I appreciate you. And the plan is to do one of these every day, same time, without fail. So we'll see how that goes, but really looking forward to getting this series started. So real quick, I spent 10 years in academia, 6 years getting my PhD, more than 10 years, 6 years getting my PhD right out of undergrad, and then taught at a university for 5 years. The last year of which I was building up my business. So I say I taught 10 years and then I've been an accountant for a little bit more than a couple years. But my three tricks, my three tips, if you're thinking about making the leap out of employment, out of your 9 to 5 job, into something different, into self-employment. So number one, and I can't stress this one enough, this is crucial to whatever you're wanting to do, but number one tip is have a mentor. And so what do I mean by a mentor? This is not your boss. This is not somebody that you're hoping to get a job from. This is not somebody that you're even hoping to be a business partner from. This is somebody that has zero financial stake or not a substantial financial stake in your success. So somebody that's not just trying to make money off of your success, but then also somebody that is deeply motivated to see you succeed. That's one huge criterion of a mentor. So my mentor, we had it set up to where he got a little bit of a cut of the money I made starting off, but it wasn't going to change his world. And so the huge thing there though was that he was committed to seeing me succeed, and my success wasn't going to make him rich, but it was going to lay the foundation for me to be successful, which in turn made it to where, he had the benefit of seeing that happen. So that was huge with my mentor. Also, another key criterion for a mentor is somebody that is well-versed, well-experienced in the field, knows what they're talking about, but at the same time hasn't been doing it for so long that they're jaded, or that they're on the verge of retirement. Somebody that still has skin in the game, somebody that still trying to figure things out for themselves, somebody that's still working on perfecting, their firm or their business or whatever. But they've been doing it long enough to, show you the ropes, that they've been doing it long enough to, when you do get in a jam, they have already been there, or, they know how to walk you through those kinds of things. So those are really the two key criteria for finding a mentor. Somebody that has a serious commitment to your success, but not a substantial financial stake in it to the point at which they're just trying to make money off of you. And then the second one is that they're experienced and they're qualified in that field, but they're also not jaded or on the verge of retirement. So that's the first big tip, is find a mentor. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes here real quick. The second one, this worked for me. I don't know about you, but we had to move away. So I started my business in January of 18 when we were in Texas. And for about the first 6 months, I was trying to do both. I was trying to do my 9 to 5 and then my full-time employment job, and then also trying to start my business on the side. And it was good getting things going, gave us that little bit of, financial security, but really my business didn't take off until we made not only a mental commitment to the business, but an actual physical one. We moved 1,000 miles away, partly to get closer to family. We've got a little toddler, we've got a 2-year-old daughter, but and so being closer to family helped. But really that geographic move, we mentally and physically left behind that old life, that old job, that old life. And so when we got to where we knew we were moving to, and we were there for a little bit and knew that that was the right move for us, that's when I emailed my old boss and said, you know, I resign. And I had already made that commitment mentally, but actually making that physical move really, you know, it forced us to cross that bridge and burn the bridge behind us and keep moving forward and not look back. And then, so the first one, find a good mentor. The second one is to actually just physically move yourself away from that old job. You know, if you can't do that, if you need to stay where you're at, then you've got to find some sort of, you know, serious mental separation and commitment. But if you can just physically move away, I strongly recommend that. And then the third one, and this one might run a little bit counter to what's traditionally out there, but my third one is to have a plan B, but that plan B needs to be so ridiculous that you're not ever going to consider that plan B a viable option. So what do I mean by that? When I was in high school, I bagged groceries at a grocery store, and that I did that most, you know, a couple years in high school, and that was where, you know, my income was. So I worked throughout the school year, put in extra time during the summer, save up money, that kind of thing. I bagged groceries in high school. So when we were committed to our business, and the business is what I was doing, you know, and there were lots of conversations with my wife where it was just like, I don't know if this is going to work. Maybe we should have a plan B. Maybe we should look at some alternatives. Maybe I should start applying for jobs in this field. You know, maybe we should try to figure something else out. I would always, you know, get to the point to where I would tell my wife, you know what? I think this business is going to work, but hey, even if it doesn't, I can always go back and bag groceries. And of course, you know, I've got a wife and a kid. Bagging groceries, it's not a viable option. There's no way I'd be able to provide, you know, the kind of quality of life that, you know, my family and I deserve bagging groceries. And this is no disrespect to people who are doing that, but that just isn't right for me. But and my wife would get frustrated when I'd say that, and she'd always come back and say, oh, but you can do other things than that. You can get good jobs. You know, why do you only think you can bag groceries? And it's not that I think that's the only thing I can do. It's that I had to mentally tell myself that if I didn't make this business work, then that was the only other option, because I knew that was such an unacceptable option to me that it forced me to make the business work. And sure enough, about 6 months after I started telling myself that, the business has gotten to a point to where it does work. And so my third big tip there is just have that plan B, but make it so ridiculous that you won't actually, that when you compare it to what you actually want, it just seems so ridiculous that you'd never seriously take that. So again, that kind of goes in with number 2, that you have to just you have to cast that stone so far into the water that you've got no choice but to go after it, you know, geographically, physically, mentally, in every possible way. So those are my, you know, 3 big tips. The fourth one, that bonus, is one that's pretty common out there. So, you know, to me, it was important, but, you know, save money. Save money before you do make that leap. Have that, you know, have several months, you know, at least 3, if not closer to 6, maybe even a year of expenses saved up, cash that you can draw on. So when we did leave Texas, we sold our house and we made a decent bit of money off of that we put into the bank, and we ended up using that as a down payment on our house here in Florida. But for a while there, we had that money in the bank just as a cushion, just to know that we would be okay for a while we were building this business. And so once we knew that we were to the point to where we didn't need that for that purpose, we could use it as a down payment on a house. But for a while there, that really was our cushion. So that fourth bonus tip, you know, have that cushion, have that financial cushion, because, you know, and if you think you need 3 months, then plan for 6. And if you think you need 6, then plan for 12 months, because you're always going to need more than you think you do. So always double that plan. So number 1, have a good mentor. Number 2 is move yourself if you can, you know, geographically, physically. And then number 3 is have that plan B, but make it so ridiculous that you'd never really consider it. That bonus fourth one is save up some expenses. All right, good deal. That's my tips on how I left my 9-to-5. If you've got any other tips, please share them. Please comment and share them. I'd love to hear them. And looking forward to doing this again tomorrow. All right, everybody, have a great one.